This is the Only in Louisiana podcast with Michelle Southern.
A couple of weeks ago, as of the launch of episode 15 of Only in Louisiana, we all learned of the passing of legendary NFL broadcaster John Madden. And it was during that time I was sitting across the desk from Jeff Palermo, who is the news director of the Louisiana Radio Network. I was helping him anchor some news that morning on December 29th. And I heard him interviewing a gentleman by the name of Glenn Mistich. And they were talking about John Madden. And when Jeff got off the phone, I asked him, what was that about? What's your Louisiana angle there? Is the Louisiana Radio Network is a statewide radio news agency. And he said that's the guy that introduced John Madden to the Turducken. It is an incredible story, but everyone knew of John Madden's love for the Turducken and his association with Thanksgiving. But you might not know that started in the mid-90s inside the Superdome. So I'm going to bring in Glenn Mistich now to tell the story himself. Glenn is the owner of the Gourmet Butcher Block and home of the All Madden Turducken. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us on the Only in Louisiana podcast today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So if someone is listening right now and has no idea what a turducken is, why don't you enlighten us?
Okay, a turducken is a deboned turkey, stuffed with the deboned duck, stuffed with the deboned chicken, and it has sausage stuffing in the turkey, sausage stuffing in the duck, cornbread dressing in the chicken. So each bird is deboned and stuffed inside of each other with stuffing in each bird.
And how did the turducken get its start? I mean, who would you say is the real brainchild of it here in Louisiana?
Probably Hebert Specialty Meats, Lafayette, Maurice, and Paul Prudhomme. I guess those two guys. It's a debate on who really came up with it first.
A loaded question, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell us the story then about how a turducken ended up for the first time in the hands of John Madden.
So in 1996, December, I was on the radio with Bob Del Giorno. He's sports talker, and anyway, we were talking about the turducken and all this and that. And then when I hung up the phone with him talking about the turducken, I was listening to him, and he was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if John Madden would try this turducken? He's coming to do the Saints and Rams game this weekend. And, never thought nothing of it. Talking to his audience, that's what he was saying. And next thing you know, they wanted us to go. So he said, yes, he'd love it. And we went to the Dome and had a little trouble getting in, but we got in. He came out the booth and he fell in love with it. And we took a picture with him and we went on our way. And next thing you know, 2 days later, I got a phone call from John Madden. I thought it was one of my friends messing with me. And it really was him. I was like, wow, this is him. And he said, I really like the turducken. Do you think I can get some in California? I was like, sure. So I took his name, his address, and he gave me his credit card and everything. And I sent him a turducken, and 2 weeks later, Fox Sports called us and said, Glenn, John wants the turducken to be the official food for the All Madden team. Can we send a camera crew over? I'm like, yeah. So Fox Sports comes over and does an interview with us. Right. And we were already on local TV and stuff before that, naturally all the Frank Davis and all the WVUE, WDSU. All the local stations, but never nothing like this.
No, right.
So they sent the crew, and I mean, every year, they asked me if I could put 6 legs on it. So add 6 legs. So he wanted 8 legs, one for the offensive line, I think it was, and the most valuable player. So we did that, and every game from that point on, he had it for Thanksgiving Day. He would give the legs to the most valuable players, and then we were on, like, he had us on the turducken during the Super Bowls and stuff. So 24 years, he was getting it, He'd get to that his house every year, and we were on every Fox game and every Thanksgiving game till he retired. And it just meant a lot. It really does. And this year we were on the All Madden documentary, Fox Sports call and wanted us to be on there. And I'm like, why me? You know, he says, Glenn said you were a big part of John Madden's history.
Whoa. You can't beat a good turducken.
Which turkey is this?
This is a turducken.
This is a turducken, okay.
See, and this is what it looks like inside.
Oh,
See, it's
that.
turkey, dressing, duck, dressing, chicken.
Huh.
All Madden turducken, you know.
At first glance, it's a turkey. But if you look a little deeper, there's more to this bird than meets the eye.
John Madden was coming to New Orleans to call a Saints game. Local radio personality said, wouldn't it be nice if John Madden would try this turducken?
Time coming up.
The next thing you know, we bring in a turducken to the game.
Some surprises today, including that turducken.
Then he passed away 2 days after he watched the documentary. And that's when it really hit me, because all the broadcasters that were, talking about John Madden, days that day and days after, just about all of them talked about the turducken, and it was a big part of him. That's when I really realized it really was a big part, because I'm just a little Cajun guy down here, I tried to thank him several times, but, he would just say, you got a good product, just keep doing what you're doing. I spent a lot of time with John Madden when he comes to New Orleans. I would get invited to go with him on the bus and sit and talk to him before the games, after the games. And him and I would sit there and talk. We had some alone time, and we didn't talk about football. When I was younger, I played football and stuff, but I wasn't big into football until I started, seeing John Madden, giving him turduckens and stuff. So we sit down and talk, and that's what we talked about was food. He wanted to know how I did the turducken, how many we sold, how do we debone the turkeys, how do you put one together? That was his question. That's what we talked about, food. He had a passion for football and the most knowledge of anybody, I think, ever to be announcing with football. He also had a passion for food, and that's what I'll always remember him for, and we're very blessed to be a part of this, I don't know, I can't say enough about what he's done for myself and my family, my business.
In the research that has gone ahead of our interview today for the podcast episode, he really loved it, Glenn. I think he didn't make any bones about how much he loved a turducken.
He really did, and he learned how to exactly what it was. You can see that game. He was describing this turducken to a T better than I did, probably. Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable how he figured it out. It was amazing, and he was sure to talk about it whenever he wanted to.
Yes. I even saw one broadcast where he cuts down the middle of it with his hand and just started
Oh, yeah. He was something else.
But anyway, here's how you slice it. See, a lot of people don't know. You have to slice it down the middle. See, and then you slice it across this way.
One of the great things about your coming over here is I'm able to ask you all of these questions, because for a lot of years I thought a turducken was some sort of a foul crossbreed. But it's not.
Well,
it's three different things.
Yeah. It's really 5 different things. It's a chicken, a duck, a turkey, and 2 kinds of dressing.
And are you going to have one on your Thanksgiving table?
Yeah, I'm going to have one. I have to bring it though, but because here's a picture of one.
Turducken.
Yeah,
picture. That is it.
And you see, you cut it like right down here. See, and then this is what it looks like inside.
And he's a really nice guy. You'd never know he had the fame. It wasn't about fame and fortune with him. He was just having fun. He really was, and he really did. That's how he lived his life. Plenty of times I got phone calls from him. Glenn, I'm sitting in my office with a friend of mine. He wants a turducken. Send him one. I'm gonna give you his phone to him. So I talked to this friend of his, and I didn't tell him who I was talking to. I mean, I don't remember all the people, but he thought about us a lot. Evidently, the conversation came up a lot in his everyday life.
That's hilarious. Well, I know that you said that he's meant a lot to you and your family. How would you say your business compared before your meeting with John Madden and him announcing to the world or introducing to the world the turducken compared to afterwards?
So we were selling 200 to 250 turduckens between November and December. So that's Thanksgiving and Christmas. Okay. We sold about another 200 or 300 deboned stuffed turkeys and chickens we were selling. We were selling pretty many deboned stuffed chickens. So the following year, we sold 6,000 turduckens. And that's just because of John Madden. There's no other way to we didn't advertise, we just and that's what it was. I mean, we were with him from the time he was with Fox when we started. He went to CBS, ABC, NBC. He went to Monday Night Football, all these different networks he was with while we were with him. He ended up with Fox in the end also. So they tired us with them. I mean, all these different stations made sure they had John Madden on a Thanksgiving Day game, doing the six-legged turducken and stuff, and the six-legged turkey also. So what it's done from a business is from 250 to 6,000 turduckens is unbelievable. I mean, I just still to this day, we're still right around that 5,000-6,000 mark, with everybody else that's doing it, because we're not the only ones that doing it anymore. At that time, there was only like 2 or 3 people doing the turducken. So
you said, how many days did John die after the documentary came out?
I think it was 2 or 3. It was 2 or 3 days. So him and his family and a couple of close friends went watch it at his studio. And Turducken, he has a studio. He has an office, and he's got a big bunch of TVs on. You've seen it in the documentary. All those TVs, all that was done at his office. So he showed them bits and pieces, and he participated in it a lot. But he didn't see nothing about me on there. He didn't see none of it except the stuff that when you saw in the documentary, he was talking about the turducken. Oh, can't beat a good turducken. But he was watching the old film when he said that. Then he sat down and watched it with his friends and family. And, his anniversary was the 26th. He watched it on the 25th, Christmas Day. His anniversary was the 26th. And the following day of the 27th that he passed away.
And I imagine that was quite a gut punch for you.
I didn't realize we were that big of a part in his life. And that when he passed away is when I really realized it, because all these people was talking about it. And the next day when I got to work, the phone rings 9 o'clock in the morning. Somebody wanted to do an interview with me, and I broke down. I mean, I got choked up.
So Glenn had mentioned that interview to me, and that was the interview that I heard Jeff conduct with him. And here's a little snippet of that at the end.
Quite a story. So I would imagine today's a sad day for you, huh?
It is. It is. It really is. And I'm kind of lost for words. And I made a lot of friends with John Madden, through him, CEO of Fox Sports, Eric Shanks, Sandy Montag, all these guys are in my contacts, and we talk throughout the year, just about every year. I've went and had to Eric's house and, spent time with him and, talk about John. And so it's been a great relationship.
Well, Glenn, thanks for talking with me. I know you're busy today. I appreciate it, and keep up the good work. And I know you think fondly of John today.
And you stuffed the turkey with it. It smelled so good. Duck with a chicken. So I just started grabbing it, pulling it apart, and eating it.
Yeah. About a week later, I get a phone call from Fox Sports. They said, Glenn, John Madden wants the turducken to be the official food for our Madden team.
Here it is. Look, we got dressing and everything they're taking down there.
Hey, Mr. Wad, Mr. Summerall, happy Thanksgiving, fellas.
We were doing 6,000 turduckens the following year.
There's a lot of things I wish I would have said, I could have said before he passed away, and that I didn't get a chance to, but I'm grateful that he got to see the documentary. I think he could see in my face how smile I had, and, the interview and for all those guys. We were in the documentary with all these pro players and coaches and Hall of Famers, and then me, Anyway, it was good, and I can laugh about it now. It was a good time, and I'm glad he got to see it,
And have you heard the story about after he got that first turducken from you, that he met Tom Benson? Have you heard that part of this?
I did, and he's quoted several times. I guess it was maybe part of my fault because I didn't bring napkins when I did it. And played. I mean, I figured they'd have that stuff at the Dome, but when he got it, he didn't waste no time to ask for napkin. He just started eating it. And I think that might be the time you saw where he cut it in half. I don't know. It's hilarious.
So the story is tell it how you know it with the Tom Benson part of it.
I know it. He was in there eating the turducken. I mean, that was right after we left, and Tom Benson went in there to ask him if he could help him find a new coach, and that's what he says. And he come to a point where he had his hands full of turducken grease and meat and whatever, and he says there's a time whether you try to find a napkin or do you just shake his hand. So he just shook his hand. He said he never talked to Tom Benson again after that.
Oh, that's great. Well, Glenn, my heart goes out to you, and this is just a fantastic Louisiana story. And, for me, and I'm watching this, and again, the research, you just got a lot of free advertising, even in the Super Bowl, because he loved your product so much.
Right, it's unbelievable. And during some of the Super Bowls, there's some video clips out there, people holding up signs in the audience and watching the game. John Madden, where's the turducken? I mean, the people were listening. And I said that in a documentary. When John Madden speaks, people listen. They really do. I mean, he was very well liked.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Glenn. We can wrap it up right here. But what a great product and what a fantastic story on John's life. And you really seem to have been a big part of bringing him a lot of joy.
Yeah, well, he helped Louisiana out a lot, not just me, everybody that does, food, us and food. And he hit the nail on the head, helped our state out a lot, and all the businesses in the turducken industry, tremendous.
Glenn Mistich, owner of the Gourmet Butcher Block and home of the All Madden Turducken.
This stuff is looking good and smelling good and tasting good. We got to dig in and start eating now.
Thanks for listening to episode 15 today of Only in Louisiana. You can now find all of the episodes online at onlyinlouisiana.com and however you listen to podcasts. And thank you for subscribing as a part of the Guarantee Podcast Network, which is powered by PreSonus. And again, online at onlyinlouisiana.com.
Because only in Louisiana.